There are moments in your journey when everything breaks apart. When the ground beneath your feet feels unfamiliar, the people you trusted walk away, and the path ahead is blurred by tears and silence. You stand there, heart in your hands, asking why. Why did it all have to fall apart when you were finally giving it your all? Why did the people you love most become strangers? Why did your plans collapse just when you thought you were close? But here's the truth. Not all endings are failures. Not every departure is rejection. Some losses are redirections in disguise. Some breakdowns are actually breakthroughs dressed in discomfort. The pain you've been feeling, it's not punishment, it's positioning. You weren't being buried, you were being planted. This message reached you now because divine timing is never early and never late. You're stepping into a revelation that may not come with loud signs or applause, but it arrives with peace. You are in the season where your soul finally sees that the loss wasn't against you, it was for you. The universe, God, the divine architect, they were orchestrating a higher alignment the whole time. It was never about losing, it was about clearing space for what was destined. Comment below, I reclaim my time and energy and space, and if this resonates, share your experience. You're not alone. This space was made for those waking up to the truth behind their trials. Welcome. Today we're going to discover what really happened when your life felt like it was falling apart. We'll uncover the divine precision behind the pain and why the void was not abandonment, it was preparation. The world taught you to mourn what left, but heaven is teaching you to celebrate what's becoming. Let's begin where it all started. When you first felt something shifting, the discomfort you couldn't explain, the conversations that no longer resonated, the environments that felt too small for your spirit. That wasn't you becoming ungrateful, it was your frequency rising. Your soul began to expand, and so everything misaligned with your next level naturally began to fall away. The job, the lover, the old friends, even the version of yourself you once clung to. They were never meant to go with you where you're headed. See, chosen ones go through divine pruning. Not because they are being punished, but because God is refining them. You were not left behind, you were set apart. And yes, it hurts. It's hard to let go of familiar faces and places. But what if I told you that what was removed was never rejection, but protection? Because what's coming is sacred, and not everything or everyone can walk into the sacred with you. So the loss wasn't loss, it was sacred alignment, a pulling away to draw you inward, a stripping down so your soul could remember what it's made of. You see, if you had gotten everything you wanted when you asked for it, you would have settled. You would have called it a blessing, but deep down, it would have been a cage. The divine saw further. The divine knew your greatness needed room to breathe, and the life you were building was too small for your legacy. So you had to feel the ache. You had to question everything. You had to be left in the quiet so you could hear what really mattered. In that stillness, the truth began to rise. You weren't being forgotten. You were being remembered. By your purpose, by your soul, by the divine plan written for you long before the chaos. Now that the dust has settled, you can start to feel it. A strange calm in your chest. A whisper that says, "You're not broken. You're being rebuilt. This is not the end of your story, chosen one. This is the page where the plot twists, not into disaster, but into destiny. The very things you mourned are becoming the doors to your transformation." When the pain hit, it wasn't random. It was calculated by a higher order. Your heartbreak became the compass. The betrayal revealed who truly valued you. The loss of what you once held dear allowed you to finally look inward and rediscover who you are when no one is watching. This is the quiet victory few speak of, the resurrection that happens within. And it's not flashy, it's not loud, but it's permanent. The alignment is here. Your soul is catching up to your destiny. You were never meant to carry the old into the new, and that's why it had to go. All that fell away, it didn't fall apart, it fell into place. Because the divine does not deal in accidents. You prayed for purpose, and the people who left couldn't walk beside you once that purpose awakened. You asked for peace, and the environments you were in were full of spiritual noise and distraction. You begged for growth, and growth always costs comfort. So now here you are, lighter, clearer, stronger, and though the path ahead is unknown, there's a new energy forming inside you, one that knows deep in the bones that you're exactly where you need to be. That's when people start appearing in your life who feel like home. That's when opportunities rise to meet your energy, not the other way around. Because now you're no longer operating from desperation, you're moving from discernment. You've learned to protect your energy, not just give it. You've learned to receive only what is yours, not grasp for what isn't aligned. And in that power, in that clarity, your true path has finally opened up. The old you would have settled. The old you would have tolerated what drained you, but the version of you that rose from loss, that version is unshakable. You are no longer who the world tried to mold you into. You're no longer defined by your past failures, your heartbreaks, or your former limitations. Those things were chapters, not your identity. What once felt like endings were simply plot twists in the story of your rising. You see, chosen ones aren't chosen because they never break, they're chosen because they never stay broken. They find meaning in the rubble. They hear God in the silence. They trust the alignment even when it looks like abandonment. And because of that trust, they rise higher, stronger, clearer. They attract differently. They speak differently. They walk with grace, but they no longer shrink to make others comfortable. That's who you are now. And now you're stepping into the season that the pain was preparing you for. Not just any season, but a sacred window of divine alignment. The connections that are meant for you are going to flow naturally. The doors that once felt sealed shut will now open with ease. And the answers you've been waiting for are going to meet you in stillness, not in struggle. There's no need to force what's already yours. There's no need to chase what's divinely designed for your path. All you have to do is remain faithful, stay clear, trust your energy, follow your peace. Because the path of alignment is not walked by logic, it's walked by knowing. And if you feel like the loss cleared something from your life recently, trust that what it's making space for is tenfold in magnitude, depth, and meaning. You are in the middle of sacred rearrangement, the kind that brings lifelong elevation, the kind that no longer lets you play small. You're walking in a timeline where miracles are normal, where alignment is instant, where peace isn't a dream. It's your new baseline. So here you are, not broken, not behind, but exactly where you're supposed to be. Stepping into what's next with eyes wide open and a heart no longer heavy. This is your alignment. This is your divine timing. This is the reward that only comes after the lesson has been fully integrated. No more wondering, no more second guessing, no more dimming your light for people who were never meant to go where you're going. You've already passed the test. You've already shifted. You've already won. Now let life mirror that. Let your vibration echo that. Let your journey reflect the truth. The loss wasn't a curse. It was the turning point. You didn't just survive it. You transmuted it. And now, everything that aligns with the new you is coming in fast. Get ready. It's already yours, even when it hurts, even when it feels lonely, even when you miss what once was. You've learned to thank the closed doors, to bless the ones who walked away, to embrace the unknown not as punishment, but as a promise. Because you were always meant to rise from this. You just had to lose the weight first. The people who didn't see your light were not your people. The opportunities that slipped through your fingers were not your opportunities. And the versions of yourself that crumbled during this transformation, they had served their time. They brought you here. And now you are reborn. This alignment isn't only about what you lost, it's about what you're making room for. The blessings coming to you aren't ordinary, they are customized for your soul's blueprint. You had to be in the right vibration to receive them. And for that to happen, the things lowering your frequency had to dissolve. It was never about punishment. It was about preparation. You are becoming magnetically aligned with your highest timeline. The right people, the right path, the right passion, they are converging into your life now. And because you've made it through the storm, you'll recognize them when they arrive. You won't self-sabotage. You won't shrink. You won't question if you're worthy. You'll remember that you were worthy the whole time. It just took the loss to show you. Sometimes it takes the silence of being stripped of everything we thought we couldn't live without, to finally hear the whispers of truth from the divine. It takes the emptiness after the collapse to truly feel what was never really meant to stay. And this is where the sacred revelation begins. That pain. It wasn't punishment. That betrayal. It wasn't random. That closed door, that sudden ending, that gut-wrenching goodbye, it was coded with purpose. But the purpose couldn't be seen when your heart was still bleeding. It couldn't be understood when your soul was still holding on to what felt familiar. Yet familiarity is not always safety, and comfort is not always alignment. The loss was necessary because the level you're stepping into required a new version of you. A version who no longer clings. A version who knows that divine timing never misses. A version who trusts even when their hands are empty, because their spirit knows something greater is on the way. And that's the paradox of being chosen. You'll lose what others get to keep, because you are being prepared for what others won't even recognize. Your path demands depth, precision, surrender. So while others are celebrating temporary gains, you're being pulled inward, refined in fire, sharpened in silence. Because chosen ones aren't built in applause, they're built in isolation. What looked like rejection was actually protection. What felt like detour was divine calibration. The doors that slammed weren't blocking your path, they were rerouting you to something higher. That's why you couldn't force it to work. That's why every time you tried to go back, you felt empty. Because your spirit already moved forward even when your mind hadn't caught up yet. And now that you've cried the tears, now that you've been through the valley, you're beginning to realize nothing was wasted. Every breakdown was clearing space. Every goodbye was making room. Every storm was realigning your soul with the version of life that was always waiting for you. You didn't lose, you were shifted. You didn't fall behind. You were brought into divine timing. And what's coming next will make so much sense. You'll look back in awe at how it all played out. You'll understand why it had to happen exactly the way it did. You'll stop questioning the delays and start honoring the sacred orchestration of your becoming. Because nothing aligned could ever be taken from you, and anything that walked away wasn't meant to witness your rise. Stay rooted. Your real blessings don't come with confusion. They come with peace. They come after the storm, and they meet you in the version of yourself that no longer begs, no longer chases, no longer dims your light just to be accepted. You're not who you were. You're not in the same vibration. That loss rewired your destiny. That alignment restored your path. And right now, whether you see it yet or not, the reward is already circling back. Not because you earned it, but because you became it. You've become someone new. There's something sacred about the moment you stop asking why me and start saying thank you. That pivot from pain to peace is where the real transformation takes place. Because when you finally understand that the loss was never punishment but divine redirection, something shifts in your core. You stop mourning the version of life that was built from fear and start stepping into the one shaped by faith. You stop replaying the past and begin prophesying your future. That's when things begin to align without force.